Watch Dogs Legion, or as I would like to say, Watch Dogs London. Yes, hail Britannia, and all that rubbish. Basically, today Ubisoft announced Watch Dogs Legion. It's already been leaked a lot of times, but the gameplay definitely helped to improve. How excited I am about this game. I heard the rumors that it was going to be set in London and you could play as anyone essentially, and from what it seems like, this is going to be a ridiculously ambitious game, just like the original Watch Dogs set out to be, and didn't really do amazingly well. But it turns out that that game, for me, was definitely one of my favorite games of this generation, and also Watch Dogs 2. Again, one of my favorite games this generation, but Watch Dogs Legion is the third time. I think it's made by a different developer this time, which will be rather interesting, but again, they've gone for the idea that you can play as anyone, including the fact that you start, obviously, in London. You get to choose any of these very stereotypical English people. You get the old lady, and you get the Londoner, but we'll go through this gameplay, and I wanted to obviously talk about some points that I'm very excited about, and things I'm very much looking forward to in general with Watch Dogs Legion. So, obviously, it is the main thing, which is the multiple character selection thing. So, you can play through the story. If your character dies, they're out. You can't play as them anymore. Permadeath. That sounds super, super cool. The idea, the concept of just all of a sudden that character being out completely. If I find my favorite character, I'm going to want to do my best to keep that character alive, and I'll be so sad if I see them go. But I'm going to be interested, like, what's the limitation of this? Is it limitation based on, are these all characters you unlock throughout going through the story? Are they random AI? And if they're random AI, how many voice actors would they have on board in general? From looking at the zooming out of the screen at the end of the gameplay, you'll see how many people voice acted for this game for the main characters. That's a lot more voice lines than, say, generic AI. But essentially, it's set in London. It's set in a post-Brexit London. We're getting all political and being a bit close to upsetting some people with this, but you know, that's what they do. Essentially, the idea is it's a post-Brexit world, and from what it looks like, the soldiers of the EU have come to control us. That's literally what it looks like. But no, it looks as if, you know, as Watch Dogs is, it's controlled by this big network, this big network of computers and drones and everything that are controlled by one system, and you can basically hack into all of that. And that, to me, is obviously very exciting. That it's a step forward in the future, it seems, compared to the previous games we've had. I feel like Watch Dogs 2 took a step back in the futuristic vibe of the game, whereas this is, again, a little bit more futuristic, and you get a lot more drones, you get a lot more robots, whatever. They mentioned robots. I don't know if I really saw any robots. If I didn't, I'm blind. I'm sorry. But yes, overall, very, very excited for this game. You know, I made quite a few videos on it. I actually did a Let's Play. I'm not particularly planning to do a Let's Play of this one per se, but what I would like to do is a lot more videos on it, because again, I enjoyed a lot of the aspects of it. There's so much you can do creativity-wise in the idea of the way you can play the game. Obviously, there's a lot of hacking involved, which means you can control cars and stuff. And what's going to be interesting is that these cars are more futuristic, so are there more things you can do with these cars. Ejecto Ceto Cuz. Something Watch Dogs has always done really quite well, that I very much like, is that allowing you to play the way you want to play. Now, obviously, some missions on Watch Dogs 2 were forced on what you could do, but obviously, with this one, there's a lot more tactic involved because of the whole multiple characters thing. I feel like walking around as an old lady or as a policeman, for example, as you can do, I assume, from the footage shown, you get to blend in a little bit more and be hidden and, you know, snipe people out. Or you can be some big, like, I wouldn't be surprised if Stormzy or someone was a playable character in this game. That would not surprise me in the very least. And again, it's just exciting as someone from the United Kingdom that has obviously played very few amount of games based in the UK, and those that aren't so great in terms of experience. I'm talking about, like, the Forces map, decent. We've obviously got Edinburgh as the capital city, not London. London is just on a whole new level. If you were going to do something in Europe in terms of Watch Dogs, the first city to pop to mind in terms of technology and futurisms and cameras everywhere, you would think London. And it's the perfect fit for the franchise, and I'm very excited that this is finally a modern game set in London that's like big budget. I'm very excited. There's obviously a lot of the landmarks you can see around the map. We've obviously got the big bit of Big Ben. It's not actually Big Ben. You can't see Big Ben, but you can see Westminster. You can see the London Eye. I'm expecting, fully expecting, after watching many episodes of Doctor Who and a bunch of others, I know for sure that they're going to make use of the London Eye as some kind of big aerial to broadcast. Have I just spoiled the ending of the game? Possibly. If so, you can I apologize. I'll take full blame for that. Because it's the big dish shape, generally a lot of TV shows and movies already use that as a transmitting device, and maybe that's where they're controlling, broadcasting across London. So if you do end up blowing up the London Eye, you heard it here first, you know. Now, in terms of vehicle stuff, because that's something that's quite important to me as a person that relies a lot on vehicles to do my job, essentially, and obviously have a lot of fun in a game like this. I heavily rely on vehicles. It looks like the handling may have changed a little bit, but not too much. The problem I had with Watch Dogs 2's handling and Watch Dogs 1 is obviously it's not really the focus. The handling hadn't really had a lot of love. I feel like it would benefit so much from having a, say for example, Ivory Tower come across and work a little bit on the physics to help with the vehicle handling, because it would make it a bit more of a pleasant experience. It's the same as per usual when it comes to these open world games that aren't GTA, for example. GTA has decent handling, still not great, but these cars generally hit top speed of what feels about 60 miles an hour, and once they get to that top speed, again, it feels slower than 60 miles an hour, and they get to it within seconds. It's what it feels like. I know that's probably, again, due to the fact of, again, that's not the primary focus of the game, but it's something I focus heavily on. It's something you're using a lot to get around the city, so in my opinion, it deserves a lot more attention than generally open world games get. As I put my head with Saints Row series, although Saints Row 2 is among my favorite, it seemed like the handling got progressively worse as they made the games. But what I'm hoping for, obviously we had a little bit of customization when it came to the vehicles last time. What I'm hoping is that I can get a chance to play this maybe at Gamescom, because I'm hopefully going to Gamescom this year. Because again, it's much easier for me to do. But this year there was no racing games at E3, which is unfortunate. I guess another side topic to talk about is there was no The Crew 2 expansion, as we would have hoped. But I still imagine we're going to expect to see it at Gamescom, which obviously is not that far away, actually. It's very close indeed. I always forget when I do E3, when I go to E3, I go there and I play all these amazing games, and then I go home and I'm like, right, I've got ages to recover from this and use all the footage I got from E3, and then the week after is all of a sudden it's Gamescom again. So hopefully we see more of this at Gamescom. Hopefully I can get hands-on with this game at Gamescom. I would very much like to, because again, it's just the perfect game to tie into this channel. It's London. I can tell you, I can walk around the streets and let you know, oh, this is where Boris Johnson lives. And you're like, who's Boris Johnson? You'll find out if you watch my content on Watch Dogs. It's going to be fantastic to actually now have a game like that where I can walk around and tell you things and tell you little tips and hints. I could put on the London Chow accent all the time, and it will be absolutely incredible. Now, these are some of my demands. I like to make these demands before the games come out or whatever. I would like to see a few characters pop up in the world, one of which, Devo. I would like to see some MC Mental on the radio, or some kind of MCing chav, because that's what Lund's on about. Obviously, Grime is going to be in the game. Maybe Stormzy as a character, although I don't particularly like Stormzy, just so you know. I'm not quite the fan of Grime. I think it's not the greatest, but opinions aside, it would be fun to play as some proper London kind of characters, or at least the likeness of, because we had a lot of similarities of characters from Watch Dogs 2 and 1 that related to people in real life in those games. So I'm hoping that's going to be the case here. Obviously, everyone's straight away saying the old woman that you play as and sneak around as and assassinate people as is the Queen, because that just makes sense. And the likeness is just uncanny. It's an old lady, people say that she goes around shooting, assassinating people, but she can. That's the thing. She could kill a man, the queen. She could kill a man, and no one could say anything. It's genuinely quite scary, to be honest. And our national anthem, God Save the Queen. Screw everyone else. God Save the Queen. So, I'm excited. Very excited for this game. I think of all the announcements during E3 this year, this is definitely my favorite. And obviously, there's no Need for Speed. There's no the Crew 2 expansion at E3 this year. It's been a pretty average year for E3 this year, because obviously the next generation consoles are out next year, and everyone's saving their stuff for the next generation consoles, which it makes sense, right? It makes total sense, but it does mean this year I don't really have many games to look forward to other than Animal Crossing, which is hopefully going to get released this year, Pokemon, and until next year, I guess next year we'll have Watch Dogs, but other than that, thus ends my my collection of games for this year. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Oh, actually, Need for Speed, but obviously we haven't heard about that yet. Be sure to smash like. Let me know in the comments what you think of Watch Dogs London. Are you excited? What new mechanics do you hope to see? Obviously, this was the announcement. There wasn't too much there except the whole character switching thing. What else do you want to see? I want to see a drastic improvement on the vehicles, and I'm hoping some vehicle customization in terms of upgrading your car to just, even if it just makes it stronger, or personalizing it a little bit, and to be able to keep it in an apartment and that kind of stuff. That kind of lock-up, that kind of home-based thing would be super sweet, and I hope to see that. Anyway, be sure to smash like, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.